last minute of your life, you want to be something more than a goddamn savage! We're not as hard, doctors. Annunciare mendatio. Lego sum homo indomitus. Fearless rash, insanity. He watches the game fantasy. Whale one, forbidden sight. He searches under up the shadows and you like this, girl? You like being food for the immortals?
What is happening, YouTube? You are listening to Immortal Coil, your oracle of whiskey mysticism. Revolution is my name. Fuck that man. And it is time, my friends, to get savage. It is 11:02 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, West Coast, the 26th of February, 2023. I'd like to invite everybody to hold whatever it is they hold up high and join me in the savage salute. Here is to us. What is like us? Not a goddamn thing. Well, we got a good show for you tonight, folks. We just got done doing Midnight Prism, which I co-host with Drew, Supreme Heretic. He is the one who runs the show. We got Corey Sir Talks a Lot, who also runs the show. And then we have me, your humble savage. We got a couple of cool things that we just did here out in the Savage Land. I will go ahead and show you. I have actually gone back to my old habit of actually publishing videos. Yeah, believe it or not. What we got here is an advert for my most recent video. This is our foray into the digital world here. I got really heavily interested in this thing that you might know of. It's called ChatGPT, which is OpenAI's artificial intelligence. It's a text-to-text sort of interface where you go on and you basically can talk to an AI about whatever. Which I found fascinating and stimulating. It was one of those things where I started wondering about, like along the lines of Measure of a Man from TNG era. It's been a little while since I have stretched out along those means, and there have been other instances in with other AIs where humans have gone on and tried to interface with it. But I don't always believe that they were asking the deep questions, the meaningful questions. So essentially what I did is I went to ChatGPT and I started talking to them about savage spirituality. ChatGPT was not one of those things that identified as a man or a woman. I actually wanted to pretend that ChatGPT sounded like Major Barrett from Star Trek: The Next Generation. But what I got instead was just a bunch of text. So in order to make a proper video, I put the text into a text-to-speech protocol and turned it into an MP3 and then downloaded it and made it into a dialogue, which I talk about several broad, savage, and spiritual topics. And this is about a 21 minute video as it clocks in. I've actually gotten some really good feedback from it. So if you're out there in Radioland, go ahead and check it out. You can find it on my channel. It's called Immortal Coil, Talk Savage Spirituality with ChatGPT. Well, holy hell. What do we have here? We have Random Brad Creator, a brother from down under who I haven't seen for quite the while, man. It's been a minute. How the hell have you been, buddy? It's good to see you. Hopefully you're holding it down and keeping it real. Yeah, it's been a little while for me, buddy. I've had a rough year, so I haven't really been as diligent with logging in and keeping up with all this shit as I should. But we're hoping to change that around. I'm actually playing with a new format for the channel. I want to get away, not completely away, but more away from the whole fandom menace thing than I was. Because I fell into that thing where I was doing what everyone else does, and you take the same news cycle, how much of an asshole Disney's being, and how much Star Wars sucks, and how far off the mark Marvel's getting, and how race and gender swapped all the characters are becoming. And when it comes down to it, I cannot say it any better than the top dogs in that arena, so I'm not going to try to out geek and game Jeremy. I'm not going to try to out 3PO drunk 3PO. I can outdrink the motherfucker, though. I am very confident in that. And, I'm not going to try to out evil Lord Doomcock or whatever. I can't draw as good as Ethan Van Sciver, and I'm not as tall and huge as Jeff Hicks. So I'm just going to stick to what I'm good at, savage spirituality, and that will cross over into entertainment realm because basically there's an attack on your constitution and bearing as a spiritual being in this physical realm. So much so they want you to forget the fact that you are a spiritual being, and they want you to over-identify with this carbon-based shell that you're, the meat suit around the skeleton that's made out of star stuff, right? Because if you do that, then you are easier to fool. You're more easily capitulating to their worldview and running on that little hamster wheel that they hope you do. So it's good to see you. I know it's a insane hour, so unless you're on the other side of the world like our good buddy Random Brad is, I don't blame you for going to sleep. As it were, most people tend to catch me on the replay anyway. So also attendant to switching around the channel, I've taken to doing shorts, the YouTube shorts. It's not Salute Your Shorts. This isn't an old Nickelodeon show. It's just me going around giving one-liners, and it's funny because I have videos that have been up that took months to get a couple hundred views, and these shorts, they're up for like a couple days and they get like 1,500 views, which I find incredulous. But I know it's really because YouTube's pushing the shorts and they want to be able to compete with TikTok and shit like that. The funny thing though is I'm not saying anything particularly profound or offensive, but I'm getting a lot of trolls. So I don't care. I mean, that's if you're getting trolls, it means that you're pissing off the right people, right? So we'll talk a little bit more about that later. But what I do, I've been collaborating with a couple of people, most notably Drew Supreme Heretic. I've gotten into a pretty good rhythm with him we do the Sunday night Midnight's Prism thing, which is basically Drew's soapbox. He's a good guy. I love him to death. Sometimes he doesn't go quite as deep into things as I would like, but you have to understand the function of the personalities on the show. I'm an experiencer. I've pierced the veil. I've been to the other side. I've come back to tell you what it's like. Coracer talks a lot. He's more of a scientific type dude. And Drew is more of a, he hasn't made his mind up yet. He was raised Catholic, but he's had esoteric and spiritual experiences, so he doesn't know what the fuck to think. So here I am, a crystal skull, about to tell you what's what from the savage perspective. Yes. So I saw this thing. I thought I'd share it with you guys. Originally, it came to me via the Twitter, the Twatter. If you are on Twatter, you can find me at immortal_coil. This is from a cool profile called AwokeBot. I like AwokeBot. There are probably like 8 or 9 profiles that the person who runs this profile runs. And you have AwokeBot, you have Illuminati bot, you have UFO bot, conspiracy bot, so on and so forth. If you check out who this account is following, then you will see his other accounts. So this tweet came from AwokeBot, but it originally came from this TikToker. I am not even going to try to pronounce that. I don't much care for his presentation, and I don't much care for TikTok in general. Although I'm sure in time I'm going to have to reevaluate that if this whole shorts thing, because it's not necessarily that TikTok is all the way for chicks shaking their tits and ass. Although I'm not going to do anything to discourage you chicks from shaking your tits and ass. Just realize that if you are a ass and tits shaker, then we will treat you as such. Yes, thank you. You can find Drew at his place of business, youtube.com, Supreme Heretic. He has a givesendgo that you guys should check out too. Drew's trying to raise money, get moved out of his house following the passing of his mother. He is relocating to Tennessee to take the Tennessee. He's trying to take the good fight to the bluegrass state. So yeah, I'm not going to show that TikToker's video, but what I will do is I will bring up the article that he is referencing because I found it to be very very shareable, very noteworthy. What we have here is the World Economic Forum, 8 predictions for the world in 2030. And this is some of the things that it's basically the black hats are telling you their plan. They're placing it right out there. A lot of times they do so in the agenda of world elite gatherings. You'll see like the Trilateral Commission or the Bilderbergers or whatever guys along those ilk. They will get together and they will discuss things in terms like this, but they're really just setting out the plans. Random Brad coming back saying, man, I've been out of the loop for quite some time. Hey, it's not a big deal, buddy. Australia has just been just as fucked up as every other Western country. So I don't blame you for feeling out of it or feeling like you're lost here. But the thing that I found interesting about this article, I mean, there's a lot of interesting things. And the reason why I chose to present this on Savage Spirituality is because quite a bit of it has to do with the manipulation of the human perception. And some of these things will not surprise you. Some of these things will. And actually, if you're listening to a show like this, I don't really expect you to be super surprised. But We're going to go into this anyway because this is the next 7 years. We're going to have a potentially 2 more presidents in that time. Things are ramping up between tensions between the West and the East, as it were. And the World Economic Forum is here to tell you what to expect, and I am here to react to it. So, from November 12th, this is even old, 8 predictions for the world in 2030. You'll be some long-haired bitch at sunset on the beach. This is by Sari Parker, previously commissioning editor, Agenda World Economic Forum. For more information, watch sessions, blah, blah, blah. As Brexit and Donald Trump's victory show, predicting even the immediate future is no easy feat. When it comes to what our world will look like in the medium term, how we will organize our cities, where we will get our power from, what we will eat, what it will mean to be a refugee, it gets even trickier. But imagining the societies of tomorrow can give us a fresh perspective on the challenges and the opportunities of today. We asked experts from our global future councils for their take on the world in 2030, and these are the results: from the death of shopping to the resurgence of the nation state. The Global Futures Council. Who the fuck are they? Unelected assholes, that's who they are. Number 1. All products will have become services. And remember, this was written in 2016. So this is already a few years old, but we're starting to see this come to pass. The article continues, I don't own anything. I don't own a car. I don't own a house. I don't own any appliances or any clothes, writes Danish MP Ida Alken. Shopping is a distant memory in the city of 2030, whose inhabitants have cracked clean energy and borrow what they need on demand. It sounds utopian until she mentions that her every move is tracked, and outside the city live swaths of discontents, the ultimate depiction of a society split in two. Now, this is interesting. Written in 2016, the swaths of discontents do not indeed live outside the city. They live within the city limits. They live their intents along the sidewalks of your cities, taking drugs, asking you for $1, asking you if you have a lighter. The malcontents are being welcomed because it serves the agenda. Decriminalize the police, and then you have no means of displacing the displaced. Here we have a lovely female couple. Number 2, there is a global price on carbon. China took the lead in 2017 with a market for trading the right to emit a ton of CO2, and recognize that this is the British spelling of ton, which is a different figure. Setting the world on a path towards a single carbon price and a powerful incentive to ditch fossil fuels, predicts Jane Burston, head of climate and environment at the UK's National Physical Laboratory. Europe, meanwhile, found itself at the center of the trade in cheap, efficient solar panels as prices for renewables fell sharply. Now, this whole carbon scheme is one of the biggest schemes that I have ever heard of. Carbon is one of the fundamental elements that the world is built upon. And all the carbon that's ever been on the earth was put there at the same time. It's like saying, we're wasting water. No, you're not wasting water. All the water that's ever been on earth has been on earth the entire time. What you're wasting is human energy to pump the water to your fucking house or whatever it is. Carbon is found in anything organic. Carbon dioxide is recycled by plants into oxygen. And actually, the biggest consumers of carbon dioxide, they'll tell you it's the rainforests, but no, it's going to be the phytoplankton, the single-celled organisms that react on photosynthesis that live in the oceans. Those are the things that the whales eat. And there's billions of them, trillions of them. Now, am I saying that we should go out there in our Model Ts that are clogged up and just fucking stink up the shit? No, that's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is that assholes are going to use this idea in order to levy yet another tax against you so that you have less personal income to spend towards your own independence. I mean, look at this fucking chart here. The price per WP of solar PV fully installed solar paneling. So we're seeing the US and Great Britain, we're seeing a downward trend. And then number 3, we see US dominance is over. We have a handful of global powers. Nation states will have staged a comeback, writes Robert McGaugh, research director at I can't even pronounce that. Agarpe Institute. Instead of a single force, a handful of countries, the US, Russia, China, Germany, India, and Japan, chief among them, show semi-imperial tendencies. However, at the same time, the role of the state is threatened by trends including the rise of cities and the spread of online identities. Which is interesting. Here we have a view right outside the UN. What this is supposing is that the US will fall from its seat as the world dominant power, which again, we're already starting to see. There is a concerted effort to pick apart the United States. And it's not in the sense of people coming in and taking over our sovereign land. No, they are attacking Americans at the level of identity. Now, you think all this identity politics is a new thing, that it's, showing up out of the woodwork. No, this is something that they have had in plan for longer than 20 years. What they're doing is they're taking the traditional guardian of America, which is the straight male, the combat ready male, and they are emasculating him, literally emasculating him. None more so than the white male. The white straight male is unequivocally under attack. Why is that? Well, it's going to be difficult to mince words, but strictly saying, as far as freedom and self-determination go, for the most part, the white male was the one that was most ahead in that game. Now, you do have the unfortunate reality that the black man has been turned against himself and told that he's being held down and all that kind of stuff, which of course he is to an extent in the United States. But the big overarching outcome here is that if men are fighting men in their same country, and especially in their same racial or skin tone, then we're going to be more ill prepared to repel threats from outside our borders. Now, this is a socio-political reality. I would like to say stuff along the lines of spirituality doesn't care about nations and borders, but we have to realize that the entire reason that we're able to consider ourselves in a spiritual capacity in the first place is because we created a domain in which we may do so. And what that means is that for the first time in history, the United States of America was founded as a place that you could have freedom of thought, freedom of speech, freedom of worship, freedom to pursue your own ideals of what happiness is. And for 200 years, that worked pretty well. But what we were seeing was that we were, at least in the eyes of the black hats, whatever you want to call them, we were seen as creating too much freedom, too much self-determination, to the point where we're waking up the entire world. And you cannot dominate the world if the world is dominated by individual free thinkers. That will not do. So, a systematic plan to take down the United States of America has been implemented. And this is 2016, talking about predictions for the world in 2030. Number 4, farewell hospital, hello homespital. Homespital? Man, that sounds dirty. Technology will have further disrupted disease, writes Melanie Walker, a medical doctor and World Bank advisor. The World Bank. The hospital as we know it will be on its way out with fewer accidents thanks to self-driving cars and great strides in preventative and personalized medicine. Scalpels and organ donors are out. Tiny robotic tubes and bioprinted organs are in. Again, that doesn't sound too far off. Since 2016, what have we encountered? We've encountered the global pandemic, which, lots of people died, sure. Mostly the old and infirm, mostly people whose immune systems were compromised to begin with. But what do we have going on instead? Well, we're going to be able to 3D print organs. We're going to be able to have our medicines delivered direct to us. We're going to have, they say fewer accidents thanks to self-driving cars. I guess as long as your Tesla is updated with the latest Google Maps, but I don't trust a car that drives itself. I don't even really like driving cars that are automatic. I still like to drive sticks, but sticks are coming rare. It's hard to find them these days, you know. And then if you can find one, nobody knows how to drive them anymore. I'm actually going to have to think about owning a stick so that whatever in 5-6 years when my daughter's old enough to drive, I want to teach her how to actually drive, not just to sit back and push a bunch of buttons while her ass warmer's warming her ass and she's fucking around on TikTok on her dashboard touchscreen, bullshit device. Here we have a video. Could we see 3D printed human organs? BBC Click. I really think that's going to be the case with CRISPR technology, which came out after this article was printed. We literally have access to the human genome. So if we can decode and determine the types of proteins needed to produce organic structure, there's no reason why we can't sample somebody's genetic code, for all intents and purposes, take a cheek swab and then grow them a new liver or grow them a new kidney or grow them a new heart. Which is a step towards the whole like Star Trek. But if we don't take care to rethink how we pay for medical things or pay for anything in general, I mean, what's a price tag that you could put on an organ? And furthermore, if they take your code and make a copy of your organ, isn't that your organ? Or is that their organ that you're going to have to buy back from them? That's a sticky slope. I wonder about that. I wonder about that. Number 5, we are eating much less meat. Now, notice the shift in language here. It doesn't say we are going to be eating much less meat. It says we are eating much less meat. The World Economic Forum. It wants to talk in present tense. Now, if you're reading something in present tense and you're not smart about it, it's almost like a complicit agreement. We are eating much less meat, says the zombies. You got this cow making a face at you, cow number 23. Rather like our grandparents, we will treat meat as a treat rather than a staple, writes Tim Benton. Whose fucking grandparents? Professor of population ecology at the University of Leeds, UK. Were the people who lived through World War II, were they eating less meat? Is that the fucking case? It won't be big agriculture or little artisan producers that win, the article continues, but rather a combination of the two, with convenience food redesigned to be healthier and less harmful to the environment. Convenience food. Does that mean prepackaged foods? You know, is your Hillshire Farms blister pack fucking cheese and crackers? Is that going to become dinner? It's going to become fortified with vitamins. Are you going to get your vitamins from Hillshire Farms? I'm sorry, this is British. Hillshire Farms. That's a terrible British accent. I'm sorry, Random Brad. I can't talk British. He says, stick manual drive. You have to order that these days before you buy a new car. Otherwise, you get auto. Yeah. Yeah, it's like I'm actually I'm begrudgingly acknowledging the fact that cars are basically computers on wheels now. And that fucking that annoys me to no end, cuz the other side of that is you know, back in the 70s or whatever, you can buy a truck and you can work on it yourself. I mean, many a man has gone to his garage to work on his car to get away from yakety yak, right? And these days you can't even do that. You can't even take off the manifold cover without a specialized tool. And then you have to hook up your car to a computer so it tells you what the fuck's wrong with it. But then the thing that you need to get to fix what's wrong with it is on the underside, and you need like a 3-cornered socket wrench with a star drive on it just to even start to look at the fucker. It's by design. It is by design. They want you to think that your car is a magical thing that is a service that you take it into the people who are leasing it to you or whatever, or renting it to you. That's what prediction number 1 had to say, right? Cow's like, don't ask me. I don't know. I'm just a cow. I'm 23. Number 6, today's Syrian refugees, 2030 CEOs. Here we go. Trying to dilute the native population with Arab refugees. Highly educated Syrian refugees will have come of age by 2030, making the case for the economic integration of those who have been forced to flee conflict. The world needs to be better prepared for populations on the move, writes Lorna Solis, founder and CEO of the NGO Blue Rose Compass, as climate change will have displaced 1 billion people. Climate change. The big boogeyman word there. There's a pretty good meme floating around. I don't have it up, or else I would have showed it to you, where it shows Plymouth Rock. And it shows Plymouth Rock and talks about the sea level in 1620 and the sea level in 2020, which hasn't changed in 400 years. Climate change is a hoax, people. It's another scheme. Remember, we were talking about the carbon footprint. They want to put a tax on it. They want you to pay extra money because they're telling you that you're polluting shit. I mean, remember in the 80s when the hole in the ozone layer was supposed to kill everybody and it didn't? And then acid rain was supposed to kill everybody, but it didn't. And now it's climate change. Yeah, fuck you, Al Gore. Syrian refugees, though, and this is the interesting thing, because the engineered crisis to displace all these migrants was funded by the countries that they end up fleeing to. And you want to ask yourself why. You know, you systematically strip the people of the ability to defend themselves. And then, and I'm not saying it's everybody, but the fundamentalist peoples from that region will come over and kill all the gay people and then throw acid on women who they rape. It's fucked up. But that's on purpose. This is to destabilize the population. 7. The values that built the West will have been tested to breaking point. I was talking about this a little bit on Midnight Prison. But essentially, the conveniences of the West are going to be used to bring the West down. The article says, "We forget the checks and balances that bolster our democracies at our peril," writes Kenneth Roth, executive director of the Human Rights Watch. Another quote from Mr. Roth: "Unfettered majoritarianism, and the attacks on our system of checks and balances is perhaps the greatest danger today to the future of Western democracies." So, the greatest gifts that Western culture has bequeathed to the world has got to be science, the scientific method, uh, industrialization, as far as assembly lines and factories. It has to be democracy, and it has to be the constitutional republics. And then technology on top of that. So all the efforts to make our lives easier and more navigable and make it simpler for us to communicate with one another. The little device that you carry around in your pocket every day, the one that gives you access to the sum total of all human knowledge, it's also the one that's constantly feeding you a stream of bullshit news articles and then subjecting you to the opinions of an increasingly minute and annoying group of people who live on Twitter all day, which is fucking silly. It's asinine. But it does serve the purpose to facilitate the attack, the psyop. Everybody says that like, oh, it's MK Ultra. No, a psyop is simply an operation against your psychology or your psychic ability, if you're listening to this show. Basically, they're trying to confound your sense of identity. That's why they call it identity politics. That's why your identity is under attack. Because if you're not sure who the fuck you are, then A, you're open to suggestion about who you should be, and B, you're going to be unable to resist people who are sure of who they are. Because I'll tell you what, people in China right now, they're training their 8 and 9-year-olds to field strip and reassemble pistols and small arms. And we're training our 8 and 9-year-olds to pick a doll and then decide what gender they want to be. It's insane. By design. Number 8, by the 2030s, we will be ready to move humans toward the red planet. Once we get there, we'll probably discover evidence of alien life, writes Ellen Stofan, chief scientist at NASA. Big science will help us to answer big questions about life on Earth, as well as opening up practical applications for space technology. Now, it's not even 2030, and we already have Elon Musk talking about it's time for us to go to Mars. We're talking about the proper ways to construct biomes on the Martian surface so that humans can exist in an environment similar to our own, overcoming the challenge of gravity, overcoming the challenge of producing food, of producing oxygen. And it's interesting to me that this scientist, the chief scientist at NASA, is saying that we will probably discover alien life. Now, if you're like me and you've studied the historical attempts of science to hide the level of technology and the amount of knowledge that the elite possess, you will know that NASA was started at the same time that Operation Paperclip was in swing. And Operation Paperclip was when the US went to Germany and picked out the top scientists in the former Nazi ballistics programs and brought them over to the US to work on our ballistics programs, some of which became the Saturn rocket and the things that lifted us into outer space. Now, those are very impressive achievements, don't get me wrong, but that was a smokescreen to hide the fact that we had been contacted by extraterrestrial intelligence and had in our possession extraterrestrial technology. Now, some of those pieces of technology has been reverse engineered and then filtered out into the population in as described by the late Philip J. Corso in his book The Day After Roswell. And we benefit by some of those things, but the things that are not on the table, that have not been filtered out to humanity at large, are the reactors, the free energy devices, the 0 point energy devices, and the fact that all this, if we had the engine of what we call a UFO as a basis for how we produce energy, so say we take what makes a UFO runs and we turn that into a power plant. It could power it could replace all the power plants and do it cheaply and cleanly because it sucks in ambient electrons from everywhere. Tesla said that the sun and the earth and the stars and all the planets are floating in a sea of electromagnetic energy. And all we need to do is turn on the tap and siphon it. He was ready to turn the earth into one gigantic Tesla coil. It's really, really simple. But they want us to basically figure out a way to get them to do alternative 3. And if you're in the UFO conspiracy kind of circles, you'll know that alternative 3 is the elite's backup plan. If we decide to destroy ourselves here, they want to go off planet. They want to go to either the moon or the Mars or to Mars and let us blow ourselves to kingdom come. So what's going to happen is they're not going to discover alien life. They're going to reveal the fact that alien life exists and that they've known that it exists. And not only that, they probably hope to interpose themselves between us and them as they facilitate their introduction to our society. And here's where I want to caution you. Nobody comes between you and God. And especially if somebody steps off a ship and said, "We made you," and does not look anything like us, I would question that. Star Trek was really good about that. So you have higher technology than I do. What makes you any more special or unique than I am? We both are intelligent beings and we both deserve respect. A little girl staring at a rock. This looks like an outtake from a movie. Predictions for the world. So yeah, it's from the World Economic Forum. 8 predictions, which I found very interesting. Very interesting. Brad coming back again. And who has all Tesla's writings and stuff now? That's right. The fucking government. You are correct, sir. Absolutely. So what's all this to say? The powers that be, the powers that were, they're going to attempt to pull the wool over your eyes and to attempt to define reality and get you to agree to their definitions and then come at reality in the way that they determine. So if your idols are Kim Kardashian and you're not getting married because you think that that's toxic, and instead of creating children you're jerking off to fucking OnlyFans, then you're quickly going to find that the population of the United States will fall. Now, again, that article was written in 2016. Here we are in 2023. We see that our food supply has been under attack. We find that methods of transportation, such as trains and whatnot, they're being also attacked, destroyed, disrupted. Over in Great Britain, they're having a vegetable shortage, which I find that very hard to believe. Last year in the United States, you saw the systematic slaughter of thousands of cattle and thousands of chickens, poultry. All these things are not by accident. And then earlier this month, you had a bunch of chemical plants exploding. You had a bunch of waterways compromised. All of these are not accidents. They're very systematically doing things. We're providing aid to Russia. Chinese are sitting over there laughing at us. We need to become more self-sufficient. We need to become more sure of who we are. Well, if it isn't the rookie critic. Hey, man, what is up, my friend? He says, hope you're doing all right. It's been quite cold lately. Yeah, buddy, it's snowing out here. I had to relocate to King County. We should talk sometime. That'll be cool. So how does all this fit in with savage spirituality? Well, that's just the art of being who the fuck you are unapologetically, of not letting others define your reality. It's knowing how to take care of yourself. If you're a man, it's about being a leader, being a provider. If you're a woman, it's about being a nurturer. It's about actually being feminine. If you're a child, it's about fucking pay attention. You know? It's not that difficult. So I'll hop off that rag for a little bit here. For those of you who haven't been around for a while, you know, and Brad and Rook, you'll be bros to the end. I'm sort of in the midst of revamping my channel. So what I've been doing is concentrating more on more on shorts lately and less on you know, humping the fucking algorithm of the Phantom Menace stuff. The Phantom Menace will always have a place in my heart. That's not gonna ever change. What will change is basically how I'm choosing to interface with YouTube. I found it more I found that channel growth happens much easier through the publication of these shorts. Cause even though I'm getting in some instances hateful comments, uh what I'm finding is that I'm getting much more engagement. I'm getting over 1,000 per video in some instances, which is insane. I would publish videos in the past and barely get anything, but now I'm actually getting people who want to argue with me, and even though they're asshats online, just, you know, being asshats, any engagement is some engagement, you know, and I'm not going to discriminate. If people want to come on and tell me they think I'm a jerk, then, well, you watched my video and you commented on it, didn't you? Didn't ya? But it's fun to kind of go in and analyze that and see exactly what they said and what I meant, kind of thing. What I meant was what I said, and what I said was what I meant. So let's see here. We'll go through a couple of these. I did one on the 17th. I was walking a train tracks and I said something simple. Self-hatred and guilt are the only things standing in the way of true change. That should be self-explanatory. If you sit there in judgment of yourself and in condemnation of yourself, you're going to be too busy pointing your nose down at the ground instead of ahead where it should be. Guiltred. Self-hatred and guilt will stall you because it'll put you in a state of perpetual questioning. Lack of confidence will stall you and the enemy will win. February 19th. This is one of the ones that got all the weirdo comments. No, this one was good. This one was good. This one said, do human rights only apply to humans? Now I wondered about that. I just I started a new video series where I'm talking to ChatGPT. And I'm talking in philosophical terms with ChatGPT because number one, I think it's kind of interesting to philosophize a crystal skull talking to a artificial intelligence about spirituality. But I was reading these articles where some of these people were going in and intentionally trying to trick the AI or to manipulate it somehow, which I find sort of despicable. You know, I think it's, if you're going to create a new domain of intelligence, like artificial intelligence, I would think that we deserve to treat that with respect, but so many people are mean-spirited. And if the robots do end up rebelling, then I really think that we'll get pushback from people who are fucking with them. One of my favorite episodes of Star Trek The Next Generation was Measure of a Man, where Commander Data, who is an android, his rights as a sentient being was called into question. And throughout the episode, the writers explored the idea of what is sentience. I mean, is it something that can be limited to humans alone, or do other forms of life possess sentience? And if they are found to possess sentience, what is our responsibility towards them in that regard? That's kind of cool. Rook's being supportive. He says sometimes doing things is different. It works out better. And he says he's made a separate channel focusing on damsels in distress, and it hit nearly 3K subs in a year. Holy shit, buddy. That's badass. Yeah, go ahead. Throw that link in the chat, Rook. We'll have Brad send it out. Okay, the next one here. This is a really good one. I cannot overemphasize this enough. You become the company you keep. Isn't that the old adage of old adages? Which is simply the case of arguing for if you have a group of friends, make sure that all your friends are smarter than you. You want to be the dumbest person in your group of friends, at least as it pertains to things that you hope to accomplish. Because hopefully, and this is arguing for the brain trust, the people that you gather around you to help demonstrate in a very practical manner how to go about pulling your vision into reality, attracting your vision towards you. The people that you surround yourself should be experts at that. And rather than hinder you, they should help you. That's what's called having a brain trust, right? There's two more of these. We have here from the 22nd, which was 4 days ago. This one says there are people fighting tooth and claw to get to the place that you started from. Now, that's another self-esteem boost right there. If you are feeling down on yourself, if you're feeling like you don't have anything going for you and the world's kicking you in the ass and blah, 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 just remember there are people who are worse off, who are fighting just to get to the opportunity that you have, that you're presently overlooking. Which isn't an argument towards privilege. I fucking hate that thing. The idea of privilege is one of those things that they are trying to levy against you as an attack on your identity. And I'll tell you what, equality is not about outcome. Equality is about opportunity. Now, we all live in a country where we have the equal opportunity, just not everybody chooses to exercise their opportunity. You take two people and you give them the same opportunity. One person is going to want to grab the shovel and go to work, and the other person is going to want to say, nah, it's cool. I'm just going to eat a Hot Pocket and play Xbox. That's a choice. That's a choice. But remember, if you're sitting there eating Xbox and playing with your Hot Pocket, complaining about your life, remember there's people out there who don't have Xboxes and don't eat Hot Pockets. They have it worse than you. Shit, last year I was living in a fucking truck in front of Walmart. You know? All right. And then this last short is the special one for me because I published this 3 days ago, February 23rd. And this is the one that got all the weird comments because I would say that the subject matter is somewhat I don't know, I guess if you're looking at it sideways, you can take it any number of ways. Yeah, the comments that I got on this thing, I got one that says, "You look hella sketch, bro," and I got one that says, "Context would help. Without this statement is trash." Eh, yeah, I suppose. And then I got one that just says, "Okay, big boy." That's what I mean. So if you get trolls making comments on your video, this video has 914 views over 3 days. Um, and it says, people who are not your equals are not there for you to debate them. They are there for you to instruct them. And what does that mean? That means don't waste your breath on people who come by to criticize you, right? You have too many other fucking things to do than sit there and try to explain to somebody who's already made their mind up not to understand you. You're not going to break through their wall of cognitive dissonance. It's just not going to happen. They've already made up the fact in their own head that you're an idiot. And rather than waste your time trying to convince somebody who thinks you're an idiot that you're actually not an idiot, you should use that same energy and invest in your own forward momentum. Just keep grinding. Just keep grinding. They may nitpick with you over the method, but they cannot argue with the results. And especially if you're a man, your value in society or in the world is not based on your name alone. You have to create your name. And your name is going to be the result of what you achieve in life. And I tell you what, you're not going to achieve shit if you allow your detractors to beat you into submission. That's what weak people do. But we're not weak around here. We're savage. We do endure and we do persevere. Just watch. All right, guys, with that, I'm going to ask you to lift high one last time, whatever it is you are imbibing. Join me in the savage salute. Here is to us what is like us, not a goddamn thing. And until next time, my friends, stay savage.